Welcome everybody out. Today we're going to walk through we have here to show the showcase to men and women. And thank Mr. Richard Lopez from Pearsall I.S.D. Judge this year. Thank you for coming out and helping us out. So we start with the large metal projects. And we have fourth place, Michael Garcia. Correction, third place. Second place, Cooper Mummy. First place, Matthew Cueva. Now we're going to small metal. First place, Michael Vargas. Second place, Victoria Rodriguez. Third place, Ivan Martin. Fourth place, Rachel House. Moving on to wood, large projects. Third place, Israel Ramirez. Second place, Chris Chavez. First place, Jeremy Gonzalez. Small wood. Third place, Joel Yanis. Second place, Jeremy Gonzalez. First place, Rachel Hahn. Overall projects, several times. Reserve grand champion. Lacey was mine. Grand champion, Jevin Gonzalez. Can I get Reverend Grant over here and Matthew and for you that didn't have a chance to look at the projects and get them amazing job on all the projects. They worked hard on the projects right after Christmas break. A lot of them are going to be leaving this year. We look forward to next year and just keep it going. Thank you for everybody supporting them. We get a round of applause for the young men and women. What they're doing.
This is the first call for our heifer hitters. Please be getting ready. Class 1, heifer hitter George Frank, please be getting ready. The heifers I want to announce and make their owners for our heifer show today. Our plate ribbons are donated by Tim Vicky Hayes. Our green championship flags are donated by Irene Salcedo. Our grand champion banners are donated by Mrs. Enrique Garcia. Our reserve champion banner donor, Scott and Deanna Reese. Our grand champion buckle donor, Kim Ralph Hall. And our reserve champion buckle donor is Scott and Deanna Reese. Our judge is Mr. Kit Foster.
Nice catch.
Nice single entry here in the Brahmins. Really refined in terms of her makeup. One that's super feminine up to her head, skull, and front end. One that's got some body shape and some strength of top line behind her hump. I really appreciate how feminine though that this one is and smooth in terms of that. We'll see this one back out in here shortly when we come in for the drive. But if you put your hands together for a nice single entry here to the Brahmins.
Class 1 first place, George Grant. We're going to have a Class 2, Brianna Allen. Class 3 contender, Grace Joe, and getting ready.
Nice sound, brooding type of female here in the Cimarrods. One that you really appreciate, just her overall look and the eye appeal that she has when propped up. One that moves exceptionally well, and a nice another single entry here. Put your hands together for this young lady.
Class 2 winner, Brianna Allen. Class 3, we have Grace Joe with 2 entries.
two nice females that come in here in this class. I think both of them are really, really nice in terms of just their skeletal quality and build. I think in terms of their lines, I know we got one that's a little bit more moderate and one that's got a little bit more broke. With these females that come in here, like ones that's 22 and 24 months respectively. I think for me today, I think there's one that just gets out and maybe motors just a little bit better in terms of just how good they are in their makeup. And that'll be the young lady's heifer up front. I like that one quite a bit. The young man's red heifer that comes here in a second is one that you really appreciate the extra growth and skeletal build that this one's got. But you wanted to see maybe just a little bit neater for the inhalation of her and right for his chest board. And just on the standstill, once they get just a little bit rounder right there on the side of the really jump muscles hook up into his spine. A really nice set of females that came here in this class 3. We'll see them back out here shortly.
Class 3, first place to Grace Tripp, and second place to Grace Tripp. Now we'll also have our class 1, class 2, and class 3 first place American heifer back in the ring to the champion American breed heifer. Class 1, George Crane. Class 2, Kiana Allen. And class 3, Strick. Please bring their first place heifers back to the ring. In class 2, George Crane. First place, class 2, Kiana Allen. First place in class 3, Grace Tripp.
Nice lineup here in the Americans. Just briefly iterating, had a nice feminine featured female up front. That was a single entry that came to us. One that's really youthful in her makeup. One that's going to be a little bit bigger in terms of her type and kind, but that doesn't take away from a nice young girl up there out of the class 1. Coming out of the class 2 here with the Simrod featured female, one that you really appreciate her markings and just overall eye appeal. One that comes to us as like a brute cow prospect, but needs to maybe be a little bit softer in certain areas and just be a little bit more pressure, and specifically in terms of like her top line and in terms of when putting in motion, like to see herself set to sit a little bit deeper into her hip. And then we got that out of the class 3 with the gray Brahmin here, one that's really firm and maternal in terms of her center body, one that's plenty stout and for a female here, and really good and functional on her feet and legs. For me today, I think there's an easy way to go out here within this lineup. Your class 3 is going to be your champion American here today.
Winning class 2, second place, heifer in the ring. Here's select for reserve champion. Our grand champion heifer in the American division was Grace Tripp.
I think when you get that second back out here, it keeps things in perspective of keeping it very competitive out here for the reserve. I think it comes mentally down between the red and the class 2 Simrock. For me today, just in terms of just the way when they're putting out the motion, the way that they slant and drive it, specifically out of their hip and hind leg, out of their hock. I think there's just more security, more comfort with the red female. She'll be your reserve.
Congratulations to Grace Triplett, Grand Champion American Triplett, and Reserve Champion American Triplett. Class 4 British Heifers, Megan Reese, who's beginning your heifer ready.
Make some noise for this young lady. I hear with her and her main Hereford. I know she's been feeling the hot chips at this game, but I think she does a really nice job of getting this one presented. And I want to see her continue to build some more confidence as time goes on. But I think she does a good job of maintaining with this female. I like this one in terms of her body shape. She's very, very boxy. Maybe not quite the softest in terms of like her flank is what some other readings I've seen out there. But this one has to be a hypercritical, a really nice one. Put your hands together again for this young lady.
Our class winner and also our grand champion European heifer is Megan Reese. Next one, our class 5 exotic heifer, Michelle Ryan.
We got Ricky Bobby coming in here into the drive here with a single entry here, and I think she does a tremendous job with this female in terms of just getting her stuck, maintaining control and eye contact out here in the ring. Really nice single entry here in the exotics. Put your hands together.
Our first place and grand champion exotic heifer, Persona Rice. If you'll keep your heifer in the ring, and we need to bring in our champion American heifer, Grace Triplet, and our grand champion European heifer, Megan Reese, just like our overall grand champion and the grand champion heifer. So we need grand champion American heifer, Grace Triplet, and grand champion European heifer, Megan Reese, to come back to the ring.
That's what that judge doesn't love him. He was, or he was sort of fine. He was very like, the details. Yeah, so you kind of result.
As we get back out here for the Supreme drive here, I know we didn't have the huge base in terms of numbers, but the quality's definitely been there from top to bottom in terms of these females. Very consistent as a whole. Females that are prepared for, fed properly, and throughout the year. I think there's some females out here that bring a lot of good things to the table in terms of just being productive in their center cavities. Have got some spring of rib and good in terms of their lines and can go off and then transfer that to some of their future progeny. For me today, I think there's this one female here that's probably hit me the hardest from the time that she came in, and I think that's the time the type of time that you kind of manage and stick through. Once they hit you, you keep them in your mind. That Gray Roman from the Americans is going to be your champion. And then it comes up a little bit for the paint for your reserve. I know that red comes up into the lineup here, and I don't think it takes anything away, but I think it becomes a little bit too close between it and the exotic. But for me, I'm going to keep that red and that gray together for gray and reserve Supreme Network.
Our grand champion overall is Grace Triplet, and our reserve champion overall also Grace. Class 1 market steers, you getting ready? Class 1 tippers. Anade Segura, Nevaeh Niagas, Joseph Adams, Rochelle Narvaez, and Andrew Velasquez. Class 1 American steers, beginning ready. Our beef showmanship is for our peppers and our steers combined. The individuals and timbers coming back for beef showmanship, 314, 161, and 394. Class 1 American Series, we can enter the ring. We'd like to recognize our donors for the steer show. Our place ribbons today are donated by Senator Vicky Hanks. Our grand and reserve grand champion banners donated by George Deannes. Our grand champion buckle donor donated by T and J Red Horse Salon and Boutique. Rene Galvan and Ernesto Galvan. Our reserve champion buckle donor, John Northfield. Our junior beef championship buckle donor, George Deannes. Our intermediate beef championship buckle donor, Robert Sanchez. And our senior beef championship buckle donor, Raul Yala Charkey. Let's give all our donors a round of applause. Class 2 exotic series, beginning ready. Class 2 exotic series, beginning ready.
we leave it off with here the Americans up front is one I like quite a bit when put in motion. That one hits you pretty hard. I know it's not one of the biggest, heaviest weight ones here, but I think that one's the most complete in terms from a balance standpoint. His proportions exceed extremely well from the profile, and still has a meat animal build down the top side of the skeleton. One of the biggest and smoothest about his one edge. That hole out here is appropriate in terms of his finish. But what excelled over that was his hip and hind leg. That one sets down and plants with enough flex at the ground. The gray calf that comes here in two is one that's extremely raw still. I think this one could be a tick softer and just get things a little smoother, specifically right there. If we got a little bit more flesh on this one, got that thing to level out just a tick more right there over the top side of his hip. I think that one could have a chance, but that one's a great one that follows suit. The young man with the black and white calf that comes here in the third. One that you think, like how he proportions over the top side of his shoulder, that you like how much muscle he has there. But this one gets a little bit offset in terms from the profile. This one starts making a little bit more maturity about his brisket. Maybe just needs gets a little bit tighter in terms of his flank and proportions. But one that's still got plenty of muscling, I think I would expect him to grade out well, but a really nice one that falls suit into the three hole. When we get there into four, one that you appreciate just on the standstill, but when this one gets put into motion, it gets a little bit too straight, and when it plants out of that hawk, for me to be able to move it up any higher today, one that just gets a bit rounder and just sets his one edge just a bit deeper in his top line than what I would personally like. And the one that rounds out this group is this was one that's got an extremely easy doing look to him in terms of being really soft in terms of his mid, but one that needs to be stouter and have more neck venue and the skeletal width on both ends of his skeleton for him to move up any higher for me today. Put your hands together for a nice group of kids.
All right, Class 1 American Series, first place, Seguda. Second place, Rochelle Ryan. Third place, Andrew Velasquez. Fourth place, Renee Adams. Fifth place, Joseph Adams. Our Class 2 Lightweight Exotic Series are Ryan Sanchez, Joseph Adams, Ronaldo Sanchez Jr., and Jacqueline Alba. Class 2 Lightweight Exotic Series.
Mr. Locke. This is where the stairs right now, so maybe like 30, 40 minutes. Okay.
The young man's brindle calf up front, one that I really appreciate in terms of his build and type and kind. He's more scout cattle that are coming out here in this class right here. One that's still got 20 enough square shape down the top side of his skeleton, and you really appreciate a lot of good time as soon as he enters the ring. Initially, this black calf that comes in too wasn't one that I initially get on the first impression that I get into that spot, but as this time reads on and you study the rest of the cattle that come in here, here's one that's still got some square shape up high behind its shoulder, but we're starting to get a little bit more softer in terms of our makeup, in terms of our center body. We maybe need to be a little bit trimmer in terms through our chest floor, maybe a little bit more tucked up in terms of our underline, but one that's got some product, got some mass, and just got some fleshing ability. The young man's calf that's given some heck this afternoon is one that you can still appreciate in terms of having some skeletal lift down the top side of the skeleton. One that maybe just wants to close up ever so slightly in terms of his lower stifle shape, but still got some shape from the side view. The young man that rounds out this group is one that I appreciate the upper pin width that this one's got. But here's one that gets, when you study him down the top side, and specifically behind his shoulder, it gets really plain in terms of his muscle texture and shape. One that just doesn't read as much in the stoutness behind his shoulder, but a really nice one to round out those four. Put your hands together for a nice box.
Sanchez. Our Class 3 heavyweight exotic steers. Our exhibitors, please be making your way to the arena. Araceli Myers, Kiana Allen, with 2 projects, and Michaela Diaz.
Huh? I thought he had second, but they gave her. I thought he was second.
I told you he gave her.
Okay, but the last one we would have been.
So he's like, there's some sign.
Young lady's yellow cap out front is one that's really stout and constructive. constructed in terms of its bone makeup. One that's really, really in terms of freshness down the top side of the skeleton. One that's kind of blown out there. If I want to change this one to be hypercritical, is that, you know, I want this one obviously to move better, but I'm not saying there's one out here that's perfect in terms of their skeletal build. I just would like to see that one set deeper in terms of its tail set, just from an eye appeal standpoint, but you still appreciate this, the overall stoutness, skeletal width this one offers, the opens of its skeleton, and just the overall spring rib that it comes at you with. The white-faced black cap here is one that you really appreciate, just the overall, like how square this one is in terms of behind its shoulder, but one that is still really, really good in terms of being fresh enough today is one that you really appreciate. I think this one is still productive in terms of the center. I think this is the second freshest cap of this lineup out here in my mind, but one that paints a nice picture there. The gray and white cap that comes here in the third is one that gets a little rounder off of both ends of the skeleton. It doesn't quite carry the extra roundness of shape into its lower stifle in comparison to a head, but one that gets a little bit staler to the touch in terms right over behind his blade, over his shoulder. One maybe just not quite as smooth in terms of his hip lung junction, just maybe doesn't have the E.S.Ds in terms of like the better skinned or our hide is to a head, but a nice one that can be complementary right there into that 3-hole for us today. The one that comes to us in the 4th spot is one that's still productive enough in the center, but one that just needs a bit more be stouter at the ground, one that needs to come with more circumference in terms of this shape and get more hydration up high for him to be able to move any higher for me today. Put your hands together for another nice clap.
First place, class 3 heavyweight exotic series, I.S.D. Second place, Kiana Allen. Third place, Kiana Allen. And fourth place, Michaela Myers. We now need class 1 American Steer winner, Anime Zaguna, and class 2 lightweight exotic steer, Ryan Sanchez, and the ladies to select our champion, steer. Class 1, Anime Zaguna, class 2, Ryan Sanchez, class 3 winner, Maricela Roberts.
Fajita, okay. Whatever they do inside. Yeah. It's okay. Go with me. Go.
Who does it?
Wait, also.
As we get back out here into our overall steer drive, having the Americans and exotics come back in, I think these things are extremely complementary to one another in terms of just being functional enough in terms of getting into the ring sets. But I think there's one out here that just hits you harder in terms of a feet and leg standpoint and still having that show steer look. And I think that one is one that I tie the hardest into in terms of being acceptable, in terms of condition, overall build and quality. And that's going to be the young man. He's going to be
Ranging student, Ryan Sanchez. We now need our second place lightweight exotic steer, Jacqueline Alba, to come into the ring.
And as we bring second back out of that second class, I don't need to take anything away from this lineup, but here was another one that was really productive and had off of that easy feeding look that, we love and desire quite a bit here in the ring, but one that maybe just still gets a bit too soft in terms of his underline and maybe just gets a little bit heavier in terms of the brisket for what I would like to see through his chest. But in more consideration here, I think it goes back to the other two class winners for the reserve, but I think there's one out here that's just better built in terms of his feet and legs, and that one's going to be your reserve. It's going to be the young lady out of class 1.
Your reserve champion here is Anime Saluda. We're now going to move into our beach championship. Our junior beach showman, 161. Intermediate 282. And senior showman, 314. 392. 310 and 315. Again, beach championship, 161, 282, 314, 394, 310, and 315. If we can have our junior showman, number 161, to the ring.
Well, I do have to say that I never in my life, I've judged a lot of shows. I've been very fortunate to do all over the country. Never in my life have I been beaten to the ring by an exhibitor. And so kudos to Megan here for being Johnny on the spot and ready to go and everything. And we just talked for a minute about the things she likes about her heifer and dislikes. She says that at home it sounds like she's a lot more reserved sometimes and maybe not want to act good and all that. We just went over a few tips on how to get her feet set, how to put pressure on your halters so that we can move those feet back and forward how we need to and these types of things. And so, and Megan, one other thing I tell you, make sure we try to keep her head up and everything, okay? And do that. But man, an awesome job that you do. Guys, it's unfortunate that she's the only junior in our county beef show here. She deserves just as big of a round of applause as anybody else. Let's give it up for Megan. Congratulations to her. Very glad you've gotten married. We'll let you out and bring you in.
Congratulations to Megan Reese, our champion junior beef showman. One of our intermediate showmen, 282. Caleb I.S.D. Please come over. We get our senior children to line up at the gate, 314, 394, 312, and 315. We get our senior children to line up at the gate, 314, 394, 310, and 315.
some things right there, you know. We had it fixed for just a second, and then, you know, I told her, hey, instead of poking his feet and everything, just try pulling him up a step. Just seems like he's maybe a stubborn critter, right? And maybe just doesn't want to, maybe wants to put his back feet the wrong way sometimes whenever we move him up and all that. And so, again, what I tell you is, you know, just keep working on that and everything and making sure we get those back feet straight. Sometimes he wants to get it done right, and sometimes he just wants to, I don't think it's anything you do wrong. I think he's just got in his head, that's how he's a little bit more comfortable, right? And so, keep working on that. And then I guess one thing I'll say for all of our exhibitors out here, that maybe come by here showing shit, maybe aren't, or maybe just watching, you know, I talked to Michaela here about using the entire ring, right? And even whenever there's just one hit in this class, it's still important for me as a judge that we get the full utilization of this ring, especially in a little longer, kind of narrower ring right here, when it gets just a little bit harder to get back off the cattle and see those things. When we use that entire ring, it makes it easier for you to get that calf set up, makes it easier for you to have room, it makes it easier for everybody behind you to have the room if they need to. So, just kind of a helpful tip, I guess, as we move on, as everybody's kind of thinking and watching. Again, guys, unfortunate deal that she's the only intermediate in here, but that does not mean she's deserving of any less appreciation. Big round of applause right here for this show, ladies. She's done a fantastic job. Keep on getting into this.
Our champion intermediate show is I.S.D. We need exhibitors 314, 394, 310, and 315.
How the funding come up? mất tôi mất phải have a string buckle. Right now I'm high for go home. Tomorrow come here again for auction. Yeah. I don't think it's good to go to the Houston one. Those are still so bad. You want me to go home with you?
up. Yes, by my time over here in Tula and everything, I guess before, anything else, and before we do a few brief comments about this, you guys have been very fortunate and blessed, we get to do this, all over the country, and had a lot of fun. I've had a lot of enjoyable experiences, but what y'all are doing in Tula, the support that your community has shown for these kids has been very impressive. All of these parents and volunteers that have been here in the ring has been very impressive to me. On South Texas Cowboy right there, hand and foot, you don't have to wait on nothing for that guy or with that guy around right there. And I've enjoyed immensely talking to the Wolf Boys up there. Guys, you have tremendous support in this county from your leaders that it is not necessarily the easiest to find in some places of the world. If you would, show management and all those people that have been a part of putting all this event for the kids, give them a hand. They don't kind of get the recognition they deserve, and absolutely a very well-run class active, and my kudos and compliments to all of you who have helped put this on for these young people. So again, we start getting out here and, senior cattle showmanship and everything. What exactly do we do? Which direction do we go? And so I guess I just want to talk briefly about some of the things that all these kids do really well, and some of the things that we could, kind of change. Right there. But whenever you first came in your class, didn't kind of, talk about first impressions really important. And to be honest, you're not one of the numbers that I circled right away, because you came in almost a little too relaxed. Whenever you're leading that calf, you kind of holding pretty close to you and everything, and maybe just seemed a little kind of lackadaisical and all that. But then, man, we got it parked, turned it on, the switch flipped, everything I think was rocking and rolling. Kind of position yourself and just your posture, how you hold that calf, your distance from you a little better. I like those things. And throughout the entirety of the entire show, from the first time you came into class to here in showmanship, you have done as consistent of a job as anybody that we've had out here in getting that calf set up at all times, and done the most consistent in that regard. He's plenty full and everything, and maybe he's got a couple of flies kind of biting at his flank, and so every now and then he kind of wants to swipe his tail and kind of kick his foot up and everything. And the fact he is maybe a little full, maybe he's just a shot uncomfortable right now, and so because of that, every now and then he kind of wants to stretch himself out a little bit to get some relief. You do a good job, I think, for the most part, of trying to collect him back together when you see those things go wrong. And so, kudos to you on that. Little things, calf's not perfect in his top on, you probably use a low end every now and again, okay? You just kind of keep him to level out right there and then roll his back. But a really nice job that you've done and everything. You have a little bit more intensity coming in, but whenever we stop and get that one stuck, turn it on, and everything is really, really good. This young lady right here, again, I used to be a big questions guy kind of growing up on showmanship. I'm definitely not that anymore. And, just kind of ask these kids, what do the steers weigh? What's the age of the heifer? Figure out the age of she bred. And she gave me all the reasons why why she's planning on the breeding decision and birth weights and all those factors. It's so incredibly knowledgeable, and my compliments to you on that right there. And again, talking about, I think in particular, after that, kind of our second and third setups here have really done a nice job in putting that effort together. Kind of that first one going around. When you talked about that, right? That's a kind of a bigger, longer body effort, and because of that, I think it's important that we don't let her get too stretched out, because when we do, that kind of accentuates the fact that she's maybe a little wriggle along, and maybe makes her look just a little shallower. How you got her right now, I think, is just about perfect, kind of where you need her, okay? There, kind of for a minute, it took you a second. She got pretty stretched out there for a minute. Now that we've kind of collected her and everything, I think that's just about exactly where that heifer needs to be. A really good job that you've done right there from that standpoint. This young lady right here, you want to talk about first impressions and just someone hitting the gate with kind of intensity, how she holds herself and her demeanor and composure, I think, is excellent and all that. Calf's wanting to fight you just a little bit. He's got a bad habit of wanting to look towards the light over there, and we want to, kind of get rolling. Because of that, he wants to get out of line every now and again, and not kind of want to set his feet quite right. But again, your presence, your intensity, I think, is excellent. Wish the calf maybe wanted to cooperate a little better, kind of stay straight and get those feet set. And then this young lady right here, again, a calf that the longer we kind of came out here, one that maybe started to struggle just a little bit more in terms of his attitude and temperament, and didn't always want to pull himself together. But whenever that young lady does get him kind of stuck in where he needs to go, I think he does a really good job. Kind of when we're set up over here, we get to where his back feet every now and again, or maybe a little bit more scissored like that, where I felt like he probably could use a little bit more set to really kind of show off his best features just a little bit. Kind of like how we're fixing him right now. But again, so maybe at times he use a little bit more set like he was just before this and everything. And then what I'd tell you is that, even though I think that might be the way that he needs to be, for me personally, I think he looks his best. To me, it's probably a little better for you to say, hey, this calf looks 80% and everything, I'm going to keep it, instead of going poking and trying to make it 100 and end up at 50. Does that make sense in some of those types of things? And so don't worry so much about the little details. Sometimes you've got it close enough, because sometimes close enough is not sure good enough. And if we start picking too much, then maybe we can get just a little out of hand on some of those things. I think the calf's just a little aggravating at times too. He doesn't necessarily like his feet being poked all that much. So again, excellent job that you've done. Another very, very strong first impression. We already talked about him with goats and the show stick makes a whole lot of sense now and everything, and all that. But again, tremendous job that you've done. And so we talk about this. Which direction do we go, right? Do I think there's necessarily a right answer? No, probably not. Do I think that there's probably 4 very strong justifications that you could make? Absolutely so. I think each one of these young people is very strong in their showmanship ability and just their capability to get one presented at a high level. Whenever we start talking about just having the poise, the presence, and culmination, I think with fairly consistently getting that animal set up right. Young lady with the Brahmin heifer right there is going to be our champion senior showman. A very close division. Congratulations to you, to all of our senior kids, and thank you all for having me.
Our champion senior showmanship winner is Grace Triplett. We'd like to thank our judges for today.